Good morning, everyone. I do hope that you have brought your hot drink, okay, or cold drink to join us today for our Monday motivations. And we are the Mavens of Motivation. I'm Carol Henderson, and I have Life by Design, and I teach you how to design your life so that it is better in the second half than it is in the first. And we design our lives spirit, soul, and body, all three areas. And if those aren't in alignment, then you're missing out on part of life. So I want to introduce my co-host here, the wonderful Barbara Ellison, who is a
Good morning.
transformational coach.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mavens of Motivation. Carol's right. Yeah, I'm a transformational life trainer because I am on a mission to make happiness the norm rather than the exception. I truly believe that each and every one of us deserves to lead a happy, healthy, financially free, abundant life. But in order to do that, that's not something that we can do on our own. We always need, all of us, including Carol and I, we always need motivation from other people. We need to learn things from other people. And that's one of the biggest things of what my purpose is. And my purpose, I always thought my purpose had to be something, this big, grandiose, big thing. And, it can be as simple as, like, for me, it's 3 steps: serve God, learn, and then to teach others what I've learned. Because we cannot possibly know everything. It's like Einstein didn't know how to balance a checkbook. He did not know how to do that. But he was brilliant quantum physics. So, what? We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. And so sometimes it's just nice to know that we're not the only one out there that struggles with something.
Well, and think about it. It
Yeah,
would not be a good thing if a banker didn't know how to balance a spreadsheet or a
exactly.
whatever,
Whatever.
could do the quantum physics. It's, you've got to find your lane and then stay in
Right.
your lane. But
Yeah.
sometimes the hardest thing is finding your lane.
Right. Or sometimes your lane is found for you. And that's one of the things that I teach, is that so often people pick a lane when they have no idea what they want to do for the rest of their life. And then all of a sudden, and I work with the baby boomers that are hitting, the 50s and 60s. And all of a sudden they realize that they have built this huge career. Well, now they've got, responsibilities attached to the income. And it's like, oh, they hate their job. They hate their schedule. They don't like they're just like so unhappy. They're so stressed because when you're not doing what you're called to do, and so often that's what happens to people. And
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
And
So
I
that's
think
where
I
the
think
show comes in.
2020 has really
Yeah.
brought that more to the forefront. Before, all of us were so busy running in the lane we thought we were supposed to be
Supposed to be
in.
in.
But go back and think about, what were your childhood dreams? What did you
Exactly.
want to be when you grew up?
Yeah.
And
Right.
so that's
And
a
I can look back. Yeah. I can look back, and I always wanted to be a teacher.
Mhm.
And then I took a student teaching class and realized that I was never, ever, 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 ever going to be a school teacher. And yet now, come 50 years later, and here I am, a trainer,
Yeah.
because I love teaching.
Yes.
I love teaching other people how they can improve their life, how they can get in touch with those voices in their head that are telling them that they're no good. I'm a personality science trainer. All of those things that go into knowing who we are within what we do.
Exactly.
So many people don't know who they are within what they do. They identify themselves as their job title, their job description, and what they've always done.
Right. And
Yeah.
I went to college to be a teacher. I'm from a long
Yeah.
line of teachers. My
Teachers.
grandparents met as college professors.
Right.
And of course, think about that. That was way back when women didn't go to college very, very
Right.
often. When my mom went, less than 5% of the women went to college when my mom went.
Right.
And so things have
Yeah.
changed drastically over the years. But so that's kind of where I knew I had a calling, but also I had the health and wellness background of my grandfather, who was a college professor for a time, uh,
Right.
was a pharmacist. He was a compounding pharmacist. So, that put those two things. And now I've melded those two things of teaching and training. And then,
Right.
you're talking about following God. My husband and I have a ministry. And so
Right.
that's one thing we have done for many years. And
Right.
he even has a book out about so many aspects of that ministry. And
Right.
so things are kind of coming into focus for so many people
Right.
nowadays. Fortunately, mine was coming into focus long before the shutdown. So
Right.
I feel like I'm a little ahead of the game.
Right.
But, we're going to go into more of talking about some of the things that are coming up and
Right.
everything. But first off, all I want to acknowledge today is the first day of Hanukkah. I don't have on my Christmas stuff. I have on my blue and white. For Hanukkah, Barbara has on her Christmas stuff because it is also the Christmas season. Hanukkah in Israel is very different than Hanukkah in the US. Um, True Hanukkah does not do all the gifts and prizes. That was more of a US tradition because all the little Jewish kids were seeing the little Christian kids get all these presents.
Presents.
So the
Yeah.
the cool thing is they get presents for 8 days, different presents for 8 days with the big present the last day. And
Yeah.
so, we all celebrate I in the way that we celebrate, and that has to do with the fact of God's miracle of them not running out of oil in the temple during this time. That the temple had been retaken and they only had enough oil for one day, and it took 8 days to make the oil, and they were able to burn the one day of oil for 8 days.
Yeah.
And that was a miracle because they knew what they needed and they knew how much they had. And so that's what Hanukkah is all about. That's why it's 8 days long. A lot of different things like that. So, they're both Abrahamic
Right.
religions. And
Right.
just to make it clear, Jesus was a Jew. Okay.
Right.
Or
Yes,
he was
exactly.
an Israeli. And so he was, a descendant of King David. He and all of his disciples practiced all the rituals and rites of the Jewish faith. And so people forget that. We here in the US forget that. We forget that the God we serve is a Jew. So,
Right.
and Jew is truly not quite the right term, but it translates into our Americanese the easiest.
Right.
So, we want to recognize that. We want to, you know, realize that, and also realize that, we celebrate Jesus at Christmas, but that truly wasn't when he was born. He was born in the fall. Uh,
Yeah.
historically, that is provable. Exactly when he was born and all of that. The shepherds aren't in the fields by night in the middle of winter in Israel. That was the fall. The census was done in the fall. And when you go back to John the Baptist, who is his cousin, and we know that his cousin's dad was the high priest during a particular, very uh,
Limited time frame.
yeah, designated time frame.
Okay.
And so we know he's 3 months older than Jesus, and just so many things. But the people who say, oh, we shouldn't celebrate Christmas, we shouldn't have anything to do with it, it's a pagan rite, da 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 da. Well, some of it is pagan, but it's also the festival of lights. And
Yeah.
when you think about it, you say, like, you know, we're going to use this as an example. Barbara gets pregnant. Okay. So, and
Yes.
she has been, but not today.
Not today.
She gets pregnant, and we say, oh, Barbara's having a baby. That baby has come into the world. Okay. But then it's 9 months before we get to hold that baby.
Right.
So that baby is then into the world in a different
in the actual physical
yeah, but it was in the
realm.
physical when it was in her womb.
Yeah.
It was in the physical there, but then it was in the physical in even more magnitude, I guess would be the
Right.
best way to say it.
Tangible,
Yeah.
more
So
tangible.
right now, at this point in time, is when we celebrate the conception, when the angel came and visited Mary, and Jesus came into the world in the physical, yet still in her womb.
Right.
So it's a great time to celebrate him and
Right.
celebrate with the light coming into the world. And we light things up and do all kinds of fun things. We give gifts because that's, he is the gift that God gave us. So
Right.
we just want to recognize that, and that today is the first day of Hanukkah, but it is also the Christmas season.
Christmas season. We're
Yeah.
in Advent. So yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think this is part of what motivates people to be more kind, to be more loving,
Mhm.
to show more spirit, to show more grace, give people more grace, especially if you're in the shopping, like don't get
You've got to have a lot of grace to go out shopping.
to go shopping. Oh, yike, when you see these clips of people that are having these huge fights.
Well, and we had to run into somewhere. I can't even tell you where it was the other day. And it was just like, oh my stars, they're so busy. And the aisles were full, and we just needed to pick up a couple little things. But I looked and I thought, these people really, and I'm not against giving gifts, and I'm not
No.
against celebrating by any means. I have multiple grandkids, but you know, it doesn't have to be an all-out shopping. You don't need to go in debt for the whole first 3 quarters of the year or longer to give
Mhm.
gifts. Do something handmade, something homemade if you need to.
Yeah.
Those gifts are sometimes more received than the things that you go out and spend
Mhm.
money on.
Right. And one of the things for us that we've done, because has my like I'm older, so has my grandkids have gotten older, and they all have jobs and cars and all of that. There's only two that are under 18 now. And of course, I'm just saying I'm too young to have all these grandchildren that are, this age. However, um, and so for last year and this year, we've done a grab bag
Mhm.
that we all put a name in, so that we all just, have put some thought into what. And like for me, it was like, okay, so now, sometimes you don't know and has a grandparent. So I texted and said, okay, what does this person really like to do? Not just what should I buy them, but what do they like? What kinds of things do they like to do? And I got a list back of, oh, this is what they like to do. This is what they like to do. This is what they like to do. And it was like, oh, well, I don't understand that. Okay. Oh, but this I really like. So let's do this. And please excuse my voice today. It's like, yeah, it's just been craziness. But so it was, so now I'm done, because I over the
And
whole,
it's
there was like 5 or 6
enjoyable.
days,
It's
and it was
enjoyable.
fun to
You're not
do.
overwhelmed. You're not overwhelmed.
Not stressed.
Yes.
um, and got some other opinions. What do you think? And it was like, oh wow, that's going to be really cool.
Right.
And so Christmas giving does not have to be stressful.
Well, and let's go a little bit further. How many of you are thinking about the new year, thinking about, ooh, I put on a pound or two. Now, and I
Right.
will tell you, Barbara and I are both health coaches, health whatevers. Coach is so overused, but I mean, we both help people in the health area. But it's the Christmas season. My husband has been making homemade bread on an every other day basis, and it is amazing. I mean, it's grandma's recipe, the 4 or 5 hours, let it rise, knead it down, that type of bread. Oh my stars. And then the other day he took a bunch of fruit and made a compote and cooked it down and rolled it in it like a cinnamon swirl, but it's a fruit
Mhm.
compote rolled bread.
Right.
And we've
So
taken it
good.
to parties and it's just absolutely phenomenal. No sugar added. And so it, as far as bread can be, I mean, bread is sugar, but most of us don't like to think about that. But I finally thought, okay, we're going to throw caution to the wind. We still do our stuff every day that we know to do, but we're adding in some of the fun stuff because we're not going to be deprived in this uh, season.
Right.
So I do know we're going to have to get on a program
Yeah.
and stuff of getting some of the little extra poundage that you can probably see on camera. Uh, not much, not in comparison to what has happened in past years or whatever.
Right.
And I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to stress over it. Uh, I have enjoyed this season,
Right.
but come January, I'm going to be on a program to start the new year out with a heightened level of health and a heightened level of even better health than I was in November. So we have some things coming out in
We are so
January.
excited.
Yes, yes. And
So
I will
excited.
post a meme here in the list of what it is. It's like an 8-week reset. But
Yes.
it's not a diet and it's not exercise
Right.
like everybody else is doing. It's a reset of your mindset. It's a reset of how do you do this? We got some secret weapons that will be released in January
Yep.
to help you reach these goals. And we have a hint of it, but we don't know what it all is yet. But I can tell you that the hint that we've had from some of our company calls is it will help with your hydration.
Right.
How many of you are dehydrated? And
And
how
don't even realize it.
exactly? Did
Don't
you
even realize it.
at elder ages, people start getting real dry mouth and they start
Mhm.
talking about it. But did you know that is the last sign that you're dehydrated? Last sign. When you're there, you are severely dehydrated. My mom got that way before she died
Yeah.
because she drank coffee and Cokes all day and smoked cigarettes, you
Yeah.
know, excessively.
And
So
I'm going to brag on myself. I have not had a pop in, I don't remember how long.
good for you. How
And
many were you drinking when we met? Come on.
I'm not going to
No,
tell.
no guilt. I mean,
Oh,
how many people out there are doing the same thing? So how many were you drinking?
oh, you know, sometimes at home, I wasn't quite so bad, but being out, I would drink these huge ones and 2 or 3 of them,
When my
two
boys
or
were
three.
playing soccer, we had these things called the 44, the Route
Yeah.
44. I mean, we're not on 44, we're on I-40, but they were 44 ounce in these
Ounces,
big thermal
the
cups.
big
I would
32.
go, and you could get them for like 49 cents at two.
Yes, exactly. 49 cents.
I would go get 5 of them and take them to the games for my kids to drink. And I would drink 1 or 2 of those a day minimum every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
We've all been there. We've
All
all
been
been
there.
there. One of the worst things you can do to your body because of the acidity of it.
Right.
However, it's the holidays if that's what you enjoy.
Nope.
But then let's get on track afterwards. Please reach out to us because this reset is going to be something else. And
Yeah.
even to the point that so many of us try to hydrate. And when we hydrate, all we're doing is washing the minerals out of our bodies. And
Right.
so we have a way to fix that. And when your mineral count is right in your body, everything kind of starts flowing and fitting much better than it does before.
You know,
So, yeah,
and one of the things for me is that science is now proving, this is one of my favorite things to be able to tell people. It's like, oh, well, because we've been talking about this for 40 years, if not longer. I myself have been talking about wellness and hydration and all of these things and nutrients for 40 or 30 years. But now we have the science that proves what we've been saying.
Exactly. Exactly.
It is so huge that now we're able to say, hey, you don't believe me. You don't have to believe me. But here's the science that proves it.
Yes. And we have access to some people that are actually experts in their field. And we've even had some of them on as guests, but they are experts in their field and can help you on a private call decide what you need to get where you need to be. We have a friend in Canada that met with one of our science friends, and he has taught all over the world in nutrition. He has actually been the CEO of one of the top companies in the past, and has lectured at Harvard, and just is a
credentials up the yin yang.
Yes, and wealth of knowledge, and freely shares, freely shares. And so we set up a free conference with him, and her husband had been having some problems with his legs, and the doctors couldn't find what it is. Well,
Right.
our friend said, well, this is what I think it could be. He's not a doctor, he can't diagnose, he can't treat, but he says, you might try this. And their solution was protein and collagen is what they needed. And not just any protein or collagen, but one that was very dense nutritionally. The collagen's the right size that it goes into your
It gets absorbed.
and everybody's done collagen, okay? But let me tell you, if it's too big, it's like feeding your skin spaghetti, your toddler spaghetti, that the spaghetti's this long. No, you cut the toddler spaghetti in about 1-inch pieces so it goes in their mouth and not on the floor. And it's the same thing with collagen.
Right.
If you want to feed the sewer, then go for it. But if you want it going in your body day after day, completely in the 90 percentile absorbed, as opposed to a small little amount. But anyway, and so that's what he needed to start with. Not that he doesn't need to be on a lot of other things. So many people nowadays, because of the way they've treated our food and the way we eat in this country, have leaky gut.
Yes.
If you
Huge.
have leaky gut, if your gut is not in good condition, your immune system will be low. You won't digest your food and absorb it properly. You won't feel good, and you'll be foggy brained.
Right.
We can help with that.
Yeah.
And so don't, and no stress over the holidays. Get with us. We can meet with you and talk to you about it. But then start out the new year gangbusters. Let's go get this. And if you want to start sooner, that's fine too. That's totally.
Yeah. So
the whole program will start in January, but we've been doing a similar program for 2 years now for me. And in fact, that's how Barbara came on. And because I did a challenge. Tell us real quick, Barbara, just a nutshell of what you were thinking when I first challenged you and how that came about.
Timing is everything. Timing is everything. And when you did this challenge with me, it was like, I have known that I need to supplement my diet for 40 years, if not longer. And was in between companies. To tell you the truth, there's a lot of companies out there. When you challenged me, it was right at that moment, and I now know it was God's timing, that I needed product. It was like, all right, fine, Carol, I will try yours. Oh, brother, I have never had such fast results in any other protocol that I've ever done. By the second day, it was like my brain turned on. And that was something I have, like dementia in my family. And so for that to happen, wow, that was huge. That really got my attention. And now it's been just amazing.
So, did you think you were healthy before?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I
Did
knew
you
I
think you
was,
need
because
did,
I had
I
been in
mean,
the
other
wellness
than
space for
knowing
so
that
many
you
years.
needed it, did you think you needed it in your heart? Did you think you needed a program?
Well, I knew I needed something. I knew I needed to, I've known that I need to supplement
Right,
my
but what
diet.
I'm saying is, you knew you needed to supplement, you knew
Right.
you needed to, but you thought you were healthy.
But
So
I
you
thought I was
thought
healthy
everything you were doing was fine
because
and nothing,
I had been supplementing,
right, and nothing
because I
else
had been
would make
already
you better.
supplementing for so many years
Yeah. So
that
you
I just,
figured nothing
yeah,
will make you better. And
not,
so many people think
yeah,
it's just
I
age.
didn't think,
It's just age. That's what
yeah,
happens
no, it's
when you get
not.
older. And that's a
Yeah,
lie. That is a lie right straight out of the pit of
it
hell
is.
and the medical people. Well, that's what happens to you when you get older.
Exactly.
But that's what they're taught. It's not the doctor's fault. That's what they're taught, is that we're all supposed to
Or it's what
follow.
they're not taught.
Well, they're
It's
not
what
taught
they're not
nutrition.
taught.
Yeah. But they are taught that we're supposed to fall apart. That's what I'm
Yes.
getting at. And you're not.
Yes.
You're not. God in Genesis 6 says, I appoint unto a man 120 years. Now, some of the scientists are saying longer now, but I'll
Right.
take God over the scientists.
Yeah.
If it's longer, great. But
Right.
I know that I've been promised, if I take care of this body properly, that I have 120 years. So there's the key. You have to take care of the body properly. And the food we're getting in the restaurants and in the grocery store is no longer complete.
Right. And one of the things that I have to say on that, because we're going to be ending, but it's so often people say, oh, well, I don't want to live to be 120. That's where our mindset comes in. You have a message out there
Yes.
to share with people. And this is going to be absolutely the best time, to make the rest of life the best of life.
And if you're feeling good, you want to help
Want,
people and you want to give.
want.
And I'll just say this. We always think of Noah in the ark, and we think that he and his sons were just all alone, nobody around except all the bad people. And yes, God did single them out to go into the ark. But what we don't realize is that all of his ancestors, many of them, were still alive. Methuselah's name means died in the flood. So he was there right up to the end.
Yeah.
Right up to the end. Talking to Noah, encouraging Noah, saying, you can do this. This is God's plan for you. And so God didn't leave him without a team to encourage him, because that ark took 100 years to build.
100 years to build.
100 years to build. And so think of how many generations back. I mean, even the alternative, the old wives' tales is kind of the wrong thing, but the healing arts that they had,
Right.
like in the Appalachians, and the
Right.
things that Indians knew, and all the different ways to heal things before sulfur drugs were brought in. Back before that, they used silver, colloidal silver. In fact, here on the prairie, a pitcher of milk from the cow, they would drop a dime in it. Of course, back then dimes were silver, but they'd drop a dime in it to keep it from turning sour and going bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because it kills bacteria and fungus and stuff.
Yeah.
So those little things, and some things are kind of coming back into
the norm.
Some have been lost. There are some that have been lost, and more people are starting to bring some of these other things back. So, if you can heal or help your body to heal itself, it's
Right.
not you healing your body, but your body is made to do it if you give it the right building blocks. So
Right.
if you can give it some building blocks and it can get healthier and stronger, you don't need all the prescriptions. And y'all have heard my stories that my biggest claim to fame is a gentleman that was on 23 prescriptions, not pills, prescriptions. Some of them 8 a day. And he's now on two and just a fraction of those two, down from 23 to two.
Right.
It can be done. It can be done. Even things that they say can't be done. So reach out. Hi, tripod.
This is tripod.
Yeah, reach out. Um, ask questions. If you want to do a reset challenge to kind of start your new year off at a healthier level, it's never too late. It doesn't matter how old you are or how sick you are. We can help. So,
So,
last words, Barbara.
hey, you know what? Have fun. This is the best time of the year. Enjoy the lights.
Yes.
Drive around your neighborhood and go and check out the lights. It is just, this is the festival. This is the time of the year with the Festival of Lights. And if you have, like lights, and I mean, if you don't have lights around you, just look up. The stars, the heavens declare the glory of God.
And Jesus is the light of the world.
He's the light of the world. So just enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Find the joy in the season.
Yes.
So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We won't see you again on this podcast until after the holiday.
Right.
But we will be back next Monday with something new to tell you. So love y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Good.
Merry Christmas.
Good Christmas. Enjoy your family.